Every single Minecraft world starts out as a blank slate. Maybe not as blank slate as this, but it's still a blank slate. It's still a palette in which you can create something amazing. And every Minecraft player, that is, also starts out as a blank slate. You start out not knowing what blocks do what kind of color combinations look good together, and what kinds of things that you have at your disposal. And also, now that we're in 1.21 where I'm recording this, there are so many blocks that you can choose from, and you don't know where to start. So don't fret. Start from scratch. Start at the very, very basic blank slate that you're given and just start building. And it can be super ugly. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It can be whatever you have around you. Maybe you start off building a very simple house out of cobble. It can be out of whatever kinds of materials, as big or as small as you want it to be. It's fantastic that way. You do not have to build anything that looks like anything at this stage. You are a blank slate. So you lay a foundation out, and maybe you live near a savanna biome, so you start using acacia wood because that is the wood that you have nearby, and maybe there is a beautiful little desert or a beach, so you're able to make some glass, and you're just using what you have to protect yourself on your first night living out in the world. You don't have to worry about making it look beautiful. It literally has to look functional. And that's all you need. And it doesn't have to be, it can look like a box. And maybe you'll have a back door so you can escape. Maybe you'll have a bunch of windows everywhere so you can keep an eye out for creepers that may wander by. And maybe you go like really crazy and just go nuts and have all the windows. Maybe you have additional doors placed in places. Maybe you're going to use oak because you happen to have more of that than you have anything else. And you don't even know how to sink in doors, and that's okay, because doors don't have to be sunk in, but you can. You don't even have to use pressure plates, but you can, and it's handy. But if you put them on the outside, a creeper might walk in, so you kind of be aware of that. And maybe you don't even know how to build like a sloping roof, so you put in a very basic dark oak roof, and you don't have fire tick on, and the first time that you have a thunderstorm, your roof burns down. And maybe that's okay, because this is your first build, and it doesn't have to look beautiful. It doesn't have to look gorgeous. It doesn't have to do anything but be yours and be functional for what you need it for. But it's yours, and it's your house, and maybe you'll grow farms up around it. Maybe you'll build a barn. Maybe you'll learn how to put window shutters in, and maybe that's all you need for your additional decoration for the house. And you're happy with it. And you should be, because this is your house, and this is the house that you built, and this is the house that you are going to grow. And that's what this video is about. You growing as a Minecraft player. So let's grow this house into something big. Just like with life, Minecraft is all about growing. Just like a little baby learns how to talk and then learns their alphabet, then learns how to string words together to speak, learns how to write, you we'll learn how to grow in Minecraft. Your house is what you start and what blocks you originally find as you grow within your game. As you start, you might only have cobble, but as you get silk touch, as you learn how to smelt blocks, you start to change out the ugly cobble blocks into stone. Maybe you start to add other types of doors, other types of fixtures. You look at all the different tips and tricks that you find online. You might mix up colors, you might mix up textures. You might find yourself using a block palette that you use all the time, but maybe you learn how to switch those block palettes up by adding new block palettes and by adding new textures and colors and that sort of thing as you learn how to use different blocks. And then you realize things like this, where that block doesn't quite look right, but you find that there is a spruce wood that would make that transition so much better than it did. And maybe you have to play around with it until it looks just right for where you need it. All of this is part of growing in Minecraft and expanding your knowledge. You do not have to do this immediately. You don't have to even do it overnight. You don't have to do it in years. Some Minecraft players don't expand their knowledge more than the base, and that is okay too. You do not have to be a famous builder. You don't have to put so much work into your builds that you are tired of looking at them when you are done. It could be just a matter of switching out little pieces of your build and waiting to see what the result looks like as you go. And they might be changes that you make because of necessity. Maybe things just look better with using stripped wood. Maybe putting some additional different types of texture blocks will work, and sometimes they won't. Maybe you need to put in a sofa. Maybe you need to put in a bed. Maybe you need to put in a staircase because you need a second level for your house. And maybe part of making that staircase is doing it over to the side so you don't have to ruin anything else in your build. And you realize with a staircase, you need a second story. And you need to make things bigger to make things fit. All of this is the growing process, and the more you play around with blocks, the more you just experiment. And it doesn't have to be in creative, it can be in survival. I just chose to do this in creative today because it was kind of fun to be able to look at all these different blocks, and it helps you learn what types of things can be at your disposal. And maybe things are gonna look a little weird. Maybe your second story has nothing to do with a closed story. Maybe you just needed some space to put an enchanting table. My very first house, which I will be showing you here in a little bit, was actually created in a modular fashion so that I would have room to put an enchanting table, which I had no idea existed. I had no idea that you had to put 15 blocks around it. I had no idea that if you put carpet at the time, you couldn't put anything between an enchanting table and the bookshelves. Otherwise, you couldn't get to level 30 enchants. It was a very, very irritating at the time. And I just built an additional story, and I put a fence around it to keep it from, falling. And then I realized, oh, I kind of needed a roof on this thing. So I went and grabbed something cheap. I made a whole bunch of spruce slabs, and we started building around and just giving it a roof of some sort. And I had no idea what I was doing. And that's okay, because I was growing as a Minecraft player, just like you can. And this can be the dumbest looking roof ever. It doesn't even have to connect in places. It can look really silly. But as I grew and I learned, I ended up deciding I needed a fireplace, because I found out that if you have fireplaces, campfires, you have smoke, and you'll be able to find your way back home. And the higher the fireplace, the better. But I didn't know. I built a little campfire-y thing outside, thinking that I was going to burn the house down. So it was outside and surrounded by blocks. So what's next? What's next in our little adventure of growing in Minecraft? Let's see what a growing base can look like. Every growing Minecrafter and every growing base has a point where it's pretty much finished growing for now. And maybe by the time you get to that final phase, you are proud of what you've built, even if it looks a little wonky and it's a little crazy looking. But maybe that's the time where you've grown to the point where it's time to start over, but you're going to grow alongside this crazy, insane place that you have built and that you are super proud of. This is the Crazy Cat Lady's house. And as you can see, I built this house up all the way up through Glow Squid ink. This started in 1.16, the Nether update, and then has continued to grow all the way through the Caves and Cliffs update, with little touches here and there, and little changes that I have made through the years. Added in all sorts of cool little mechanics and farms and just everything. It's a beautiful thing to make something completely unique and your own, and it all started with this little tiny hut right here. Now, can I say it's the original hut? No. All the blocks have been pretty much changed over the years, except for maybe these acacia stairs. Like I said, you had dark oak, you had acacia, you work with what you have, and then you start adding things in. This painting has always remained on this wall. There used to be a bench seat or something along those lines, and it eventually got switched into a beautiful little kitchen with some storage for food things, and that is all empty because it didn't transfer in this copy. And then all sorts of other items. And then I started building on really wonky things. I added in a tree inside, like a terrarium, and unfortunately the transfer didn't include these birds up in the tree, but that's where they live in the real build. And there's a storage room down here, which didn't transfer over either. But I started building like little stairs to get like more little storage areas here and there. Windows to look at my birds in the terrarium. Windows to look outside, to have colored glass because I'd never seen colored glass before. Places to hold all the cool enchanted items that I never knew existed. More stairs. Here's all of the different kinds of things in clay pots that I was able to capture. This was a map wall that doesn't exist here. My first fireplace that I ended up building, even though it doesn't go anywhere. Having a place to cook things and smelt things. Adding in eventually a huge enchanting area. Adding in a fish tank because, you discover tropical fish. making the mistake of putting a pufferfish in with them the first time. And then, they all die, and then, yeah, you have to go get more tropical fish. And the jungle is very, very far away. But adding in all the little things, extra pathways to be able to get in and out of your build, and building a cool little desk area from blocks that you didn't know existed before, or, destroying them like I just did as I was explaining this to you. Cartographer's table. There we go. Putting in the first prismarine little chair. Bringing in animals and naming them. Putting in your bed. All of this kind of stuff, like trying all sorts of new things to be able to make a really cool house of your own. Swing sets and bell towers. All of this should be built for you. This is your time to grow. This is your time to expand your knowledge of Minecraft and learn things as you grow. And don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of building up your world, building up your base. Don't be afraid of making something beautiful that might not look fabulous at first, but expand upon the basics. Expand upon what you know, and just keep adding what you know into your build until you're happy with it. And maybe you'll move at some point, and maybe you'll make other bases. Maybe you'll go on and build other things. But don't be afraid to grow as you do it. And learn something new every single time that you play Minecraft. Something little, find a new item that you've never built with before, find a new block that you've never used. Put all the things into your builds until you have a wonderful tool chest that you can call your own, that you can go back to time and time again and expand from there every single time. I hope this helps you as a builder grow. I hope you can take out a little bit from this advice and just build. Enjoy yourself. This game is for having fun. It's not to bonk yourself over the head because it's not the most fabulous mega build you have ever done. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't even have to make sense. I mean, this house really doesn't make sense. It really doesn't, looking back at it. But I always loved it and I adored it. And that's what you should do too. So anyway, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you again very soon. Thanks so much. Enjoy growing your world from the very smallest of huts to the very bizarrest or awesomest things that you could build. Make it your own, grow alongside of it, and just enjoy the build.